published in the Asbury Park Press on January 10th, 2017, revised by email on October 11th, 2017.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Coles.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Deputy Mayor Miller is absent. Committeeman Lichtenstein.
Here.
Let the record reflect that Committeeman Ackerman is not present at the moment. Committeeman D'Elia.
Here. Tom?
Ed, you want to go first?
Sure.
Please.
Where are we on this?
It's number 6 in park discussion.
Okay.
Okay, the question has arisen about possible parkland in the triangle area between Prospect and Massachusetts and Cross Street.
Correct.
We had two possible layouts. Everything in green is township-owned property, okay? There was one possibility of going this way here with the park, and anything in white we'd have to swap out and try and, you know.
Why don't you lay it down on the table so we can look at
Okay.
it?
With that.
Feel free.
One option was to do the park in this format. The other option is to do the park in this format. Roughly, they're about equal in size. The issue arises, though, is zoning, and in trying to do land swaps, trying to swap like properties for like properties. If we go in this format here, we can easily accomplish, if the property owners, the private property owners are willing to swap like zone properties for like zone properties. For instance, this property right here could be swapped over with this property here. It's in the same zone, it's the same size, and it's literally right across the street. And then these other lots here, a piece would be here, and another piece would be, I believe, over in this section here. So, in doing it this way, we can swap like properties for like properties. And same here, these properties here, which are in a different zone than this, could be swapped out with properties over in this area, and everybody would be getting properties, you know, same size, same zoning. You know,
Are you saying that no matter which way we do it, it will,
well,
it's the same,
easier
which way is easier for us to
for land
acquire?
swap purposes. It would be easier to go. This actually goes over
What's
to
the total
this lot
acreage?
as well. The total acreage for the parks, and I'm not an engineer, would be roughly 10.5 acres or 10.85 acres.
How about
looking around
10?
10
So-
acre park.
Yeah, so you're looking around.
And where are the current developments now?
There's development going in up here.
Right.
There is another development going in, which is already partially occupied right over here. The school, the special needs student school is right over in this area as well. Shy, thank you.
Not Shaw.
Not sure.
Not Shy,
Center.
Special Children's Center, that's right. They own the property right over here, so that would be, you know, great for them to have a park so close. Then, of course, there is, you know, there is stuff in the works, I'm sure, for this area down here to start getting developed as well.
So it doesn't really make a difference to the neighborhood exactly if it goes this way or this way. is
It
what
wouldn't,
you're
I
saying.
don't think it would make any difference to the neighborhood, it just makes a difference
Well, it's
for
easier
us for.
It's less expensive and it's quicker. It should be easier for
It
us
should
to
be
make
easier,
that.
because here we are swapping, like I said, exactly like properties, same size for what they currently have.
Let's go with this configuration.
Okay.
See if we can. I don't know what the proper procedure is to approach the landowners, but.
That would be something probably from our lawyer's office to approach them, the letter stating the township would like to, you know, swap your land for this land.
How do we make the determination of which should ask to swap?
Yes.
Or we give them the option? First come, first served, or?
Well, what I did, I broke it down into, you know, looking at it in two ways that, you know, trying to swap out similar size pieces. But also keeping it as similar and close to the area as possible. Like this gentleman here,
Yes.
it's right here, and I believe he also owns, whoever owns this also owns one of these two. So to get this and this for one of those, that should be a no-brainer. That leaves this piece and this piece here, and if we swapped out this for that and this for that, that takes care of those two properties there.
All right, so could you work with Harold just to put together the lots and blocks of what you're proposing?
And
We'll
let's
get
get
the
the letters
letters
out
out
guys and
and,
figure out who the owners are.
We're not gonna get it done this year, but it'd be nice to.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
And you guys are doing 481, that goes into work the 4 lots you wanna do?
Yeah, there's a small part that we're doing tonight, so that's good.
Oh,
In the same general area, but
okay.
I'd like to get a large one over there.
Yeah, ours would be, I think it'd be great to have a park that size over there. And then these lots here that we're looking at are all being swapped out with properties in here and here.
All right, good, so work with Harold and Steve, let's get the
matches made, and let's hope we can pull this off relatively quickly.
Yeah. Friday afternoon is a good time for me usually, so.
Right.
Next on the list, Jeff, it's all yours, and I guess you're going to talk about Route 9 loop first.
Right. Okay, this is a blow-up sketch from Aurora and Associates with regards to the Route 9, Hurley, South Clifton, Route 88, one-way thought.
So let's say it's just a concept at this point in time, there's no shovels getting ready to go in the ground.
Correct. This is just a concept. What the DOT did do was they took a look, because they have traffic counts for the area, they put it into their model, and they ran some preliminary estimates. Their consultant came up with some different concerns, which I passed out to everybody. Their main concerns are the short distances between the intersections and the possible weaving of traffic getting from one side to the other side.
Why don't you run us through the whole concept and then
Okay.
explain what the shortcomings may or may not be.
The top of the map is the north side. On the left-hand side is Route 9. Basically, what we're looking at doing was the intersection of Route 88 and Route 9, eliminate the traffic light. So there'd be no traffic light in this location. Coming down to the intersection of Central, Hurley, and Route 9, there would still be a traffic light, but Route 9 would be one-way south in this direction. Hurley would be one-way eastbound Route 9 to Cedar Bridge / South Clifton. There would be no traffic light at this intersection. From South Clifton north, it'd be one-way up to Route 88. And then Route 88 westbound to Route 9 would be one-way direction. By eliminating the traffic lights at Route 9 and Route 88, as well as Cedar Bridge and Hurley, you're able to continue the traffic flowing at those intersections.
That also goes over the bridge, correct? Route 9.
Route 9, the bridge is south of here
South
for
Hurley?
the lake,
Yeah.
for the dam, for the dam. That's south of here. There would be a bridge here on Central, and the lake is right here.
Right, so that I'm saying, but coming down 9, one of the obstacles I've always been told about widening 9 there is the fact that you have to build another bridge or something.
Correct,
By turning that into just south and all the other traffic going around.
but that's down here where the dam is. This area here, we have the lake here, right. If you ever want to widen it, you'd have to try to take land either from the lake or from St. Mary's and JCP&L over here on the west side.
I do have one thing to add, if I may, Mayor. I actually met with JCP&L today about some other issues, and they once again reiterated to me that if we need their property there, they're willing to talk to us about it. You know, if we find something for them in the industrial park, or so they do not necessarily need to be right there, and they are willing to work with us if you want to use that for a road or something down the road. If you make Hurley wider, if because their property goes through from Route
Right,
9
it goes over
all the
there.
way, so you have a little bit more room there than just those roads. Just
All right, it's good
thinking
to know.
about.
You're
My-
talking about taking property away from St. Mary's, they've already done that.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm taking away property from anybody, I'm just saying,
It's a
if
concept.
I can't expand the roadway west or east, and I can't expand it east, the only option to get additional lanes is to make it one way. But some of the issues that they raised, which is what I handed out to everybody, is the short distances for vehicles heading southbound on Route 9 that wanted to make essentially
Right, to
a
get from
left
the
on
left
88,
lane.
they now have to come over this way. Meanwhile, traffic that was heading on 88 that wants to go south on 9 have to get into the middle lane. So there's weaving here, weaving on Hurley, weaving on...
It's weaving now anyways.
And the other issue that they raised is, since you're eliminating the traffic light at Route 88 and Route 9, allowing free flow traffic, you're now making it difficult for pedestrians to cross in that area.
And we have the senior place right there where a lot of people
As
cross
well
to
as
the
for
lake.
pedestrians at the intersection of Cedar Bridge and South Clifton. So,
And the state does not feel that this is more hazardous.
well,
Is that correct?
what their consultants have said, and the last page of what they wrote was, they said, based on the above assessment, Aurora and Associates does not recommend the advancement of the proposed one-way network with continuous flow intersections. The DOT, in their email that forwarded me their consultant's information, said that they will develop it further if desired by the township, just knowing the possible issues of weaving, pedestrian movement, and the like. I don't know that they're going to go forward with it and say, this is it, we're doing it, whatever else. They're asking basically at this point, saying, we're saying that there might be some issues, some safety issues. Before we go forward and examine this further, are you on board with knowing that there may be some safety issues there?
Well, the consulting outfit that did this survey,
What's that?
saying they don't advise it, is that correct?
Aurora and Associates,
Yeah.
right, in their letter, they say they do not recommend the advancement of the proposed one-way network. Because in engineering, you have certain standards and regulations. And the weaving distances and trying to move the vehicles back and forth probably doesn't comply with the distances that we have between the roadways. So they basically want to know, should they pursue investigating this possible concept further, or
So if they're
scratching?
gonna investigate it as part of the ultimate widening of the entire stretch of 9, then why don't they consider it? I mean, they don't have to accept it if they come up with something better, but at least they know that the township is not definitely against it, if that's the feeling of the committee.
Well,
There's one more thing that's not here, that I don't know what the numbers are, but you're bringing a boatload of cars, all the cars coming from Central, all the cars coming from Route 9 North. It's a lot of cars that are gonna be hitting Clifton Avenue. I mean, there are flowing turns there, but it's a lot of cars and. a lot-
Right, by creating a one-way loop for this intersection, okay? Traffic heading north is just gonna keep going. Traffic heading south that wants to go left is gonna keep going.
we're just moving the bottleneck to what Isaac is saying, and I think what we discussed
Just
is
into-
you're just moving it to South Clifton.
That's correct, right.
It's a possibility. I was looking at this intersection. And again, I am not a traffic engineer, which is why I gave them a concept idea. Is that currently you have 4 lanes here in Route 88, and you have 4 lanes going this way, 4 lanes heading northbound. According to their AM peak, traffic heading south on Clifton, you have 67 vehicles that make a left-hand turn on the 88 westbound
An hour?
in an hour, compared to 346 looking to make a right-hand turn. We're going north, 1,603 going left, 382 going north, 492 going west. So 67 is relatively minor in this. I haven't looked at it too far, but I was thinking if you eliminated left turn lanes at that intersection, I've got 2 lanes here, this could be continuous coming this way. I was trying to see if there's a way to have it just a continuous intersection, but you still have the northbound traffic competing with the Route 88. So I believe you still need the traffic light at this intersection, but I was trying to see if there was a way to get rid of it, but I
What
don't think
about if we
you
add
can.
the JCP&L lot? Would that help with easing up some of that bottlenecking on South Clifton?
But JCP&L they don't own the corner lot, correct? I think they own like a lot in.
Petro.
Petro is the owner of the corner.
Yeah, but that middle lot, maybe there's something a through road that could be done over here that could help eliminate some of that South Clifton flow.
You're talking about where the old Sinclair station is, right down to Hurley Avenue, where they're using for parking now?
No, I'm talking about the JCP&L building between
That's-
St.
No,
Mary's
I'm
and
talking about
Hedgerow.
Jersey Central's property.
Yeah,
You wanna pick up the Sinclair, old Sinclair property in the parking lot and make that a road through, is that what you're saying?
I'm wondering if, I don't know if I want to, but they would talk to us about it, and maybe we could do something with that intersection there.
Minaj, Mayor, I'm sorry, Mayor.
M-E or M-A?
I've had a busy day. Mayor,
Which one?
Committeeman Lincoln, Steve.
Okay, better.
Wow.
Committeeman Lincoln.
Y'all look alike. Not be bad.
Yeah, you're both Democrats, Tim.
It's that niceness that just shines through us.
How do you think this would impact the high volume of traffic between, we'll say, 9 and 10:30 coming out of Westgate to go to BMG?
Exactly. I have the
think
same
it'd
question.
be a disaster.
The only nice part is that if you're really eliminating that traffic, you're eliminating the traffic light at Central.
Yeah, it's pretty cool if it would work. Yeah,
So they don't have to stop, they just keep going.
yeah, it would be amazing. I had another
Why we
question.
stop now?
Do you have a count? Yeah, right. But I have another question about, going east, how many cars turn left, when they're coming down Route 9? When they're going south on Route 9 to go east on Main Street?
They say.
I don't see a count there.
South?
Well, there's no left turn onto Route 88, so
I
they're
know, but
pushing the traffic down here.
Currently.
It's
currently how many?
1,016 is what they have, is turning left onto Hurley, going off.
Okay, so now how many of those are gonna come down, are gonna turn off of Route 9 and come down Clifton Avenue and flood Clifton? So that they can
Well,
avoid going all the way around?
I think what's gonna happen is, if they come this way, they're gonna get stopped at the light. And they're gonna have to wait for the light to cycle. If I have to wait for the light to cycle, meanwhile, I can continue south, go left, leave right, and keep going. I could probably do that in one cycle of the light, or I can sit there and wait.
Well, that's
Two,
assuming the
three.
crossovers work well, because there are a lot of cars coming up Cedar Bridge North.
There
So,
are a
If the
lot of cars.
crossovers don't work, everyone's gonna flood.
Now, why don't we do this, if we think this is a potential, let's send it over to the state, tell them that township is amenable to an idea that works like this in their overall scheme to widen the,
If that's the pleasure of the committee, I will let
what
them
do you
know.
think, guys, you want them to investigate it or not?
The thing is that I think at least investigate it, I don't see why not.
I wouldn't commit any more dollars to the concept until we really, I have some
The
questions
township
on
isn't
it.
committing any dollars to
I'm
it.
for get moving the traffic, anything we can do to move the traffic, or eliminate lights.
This is thinking outside the box a little bit for them,
Yeah, it
so
certainly is.
let them know that we're open to the possibility of it if they feel that it's the most economic, and the quickest way to get people moving.
I just don't want them to take it at some point as a stamp of our approval.
No, we're willing to.
Well, I'll say that the township committee is would like the DOT to explore it further before anything final, the township would
But
like to see
I
the
have a
final.
question. Do we realize that there are a lot of people that cross to the lake? So before, we wanna look at the concept, but I think they're saying very clearly that no matter what the concept is, you're not gonna be able to get people across. How is somebody gonna get from Clifton Avenue
Oh, that's
to the
true.
band shell?
You have to walk up the Second
You
Street.
have to
or
go
walk
to
down.
Second Street where there's a traffic light. There's no cross.
Right, you can't
That
walk down
is
to
what,
Second
that is the one question that if we tell them that we want now, I know this might sound crazy, but maybe if we pick up that land from JCP&L, there is a way to do some sort of a pedestrian overpass with room for handicapped access, because you have all that room. I don't know what you do on the lakeside.
Well, the other thing too with that, Jeff, is we do have that assisted living right at the corner of North Lake and 9.
Right.
Those folks come to downtown, and without the light there, I'm just afraid that people are gonna start getting picked off.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll walk up the
My
center.
And that's one of the issues that they raised in the letter that I provided, was pedestrian crossing here and pedestrian crossing
We also own a small park, right?
Campbell Park.
Campbell Park, right there. Maybe if moving Campbell Park won't help because you can't get to it.
I don't think
But-
that's gonna,
No, but maybe
What do you
you
mean
could
you can't
do,
get
no, I'm saying you can't, I was gonna say, move Campbell Park to the JCP&L property, it doesn't help you, if you can't get to it, you can't get to it. But you could use Campbell Park as a place for a pedestrian crosswalk. I just think you need space on both sides. I don't know how that works.
I'm concerned about the traffic that, are we gonna help things or make things worse?
If the cars go through quicker and there's no traffic light, it may help traffic, but then pedestrians can't get across. It's a direct
Mayor,
conflict.
if you use the park, then you can make a turnoff earlier, so that they don't go to the corner. You could put a traffic light there to stop the southbound cars.
Say that again.
If you cut through the park,
The road.
yeah, exactly. If you make a road through the park, then you could put a traffic light there. It won't stop the cars coming from Main Street, but it'll stop the cars going south on Route 9.
And
But that's
the
just for
light.
that corner.
Well, that's fine.
We own the land there, it's true.
I know that right now the DOT is seeking to use 447 square feet of Campbell Park to improve this turning radius at the intersection. And they're gonna have to jump through a bunch of hoops and requirements because Campbell Park is Green Acres.
I can't see eliminating, Mayor, I just can't see eliminating pedestrians being able to cross there.
My other serious thought on this is that
What if we go,
company-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
the company that did the survey is not advising it. But the state is overlooking that and saying they still feel the concept.
No, they said they want to review it, they didn't say for sure they want it, they just say before they even spend any more time, do we even want them to waste the time on it?
Conversely, the same way, downtown Route 9 has the 4-lane traffic with the center turn lane. The state didn't want to do that either, but at the request of the township and everything else, they wound up doing it. Because the roadways don't meet all the applicable standards.
Because they weren't wide enough because of the DTS, but it works, it made a huge difference, those turning lanes, right?
Yes, definitely.
I mean, we can word it such that the township is in favor of pursuing this idea, but we do have concerns with pedestrian access. Would the DOT consider possibly a pedestrian bridge to cross the different intersections?
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
I'm
that.
okay with that. However, I'm gonna throw a little thing in here. Are they gonna be handicapped?
They have to,
It would have to, Mike, it's
Okay.
automatic.
Well,
they have to. You could do ramps or
yeah,
elevators,
I have
you
no
know.
problem with that, but I don't
And
know how
they may
they're
go
gonna-
back and say, well, in order
Where are
to
they
do
gonna start
pedestrian
the
bridge
ramp?
is gonna be
Cincinnati?
cost prohibitive and we're not gonna pursue, but
Well,
that's then.
well,
We can ask the questions.
yeah, and who said we wouldn't share in the cost?
The ramp
Well,
would
we're
have
sharing
to
too
be a
much
certain
cost
grade.
already, I gotta be honest with you.
Tom,
Yeah.
that's who you said.
Oh, Tom said,
But honestly, the cost for the different improvements, when you think about it, it's the elimination of a light,
hey, your electric bill's
and
gonna go
restriping.
down.
Oh,
There's not much
I won't save money on
improvements
our
to
electric
the
bill, for
to the
traffic lights.
intersections.
yeah, then we could lower taxes next
Yeah,
year.
17 cents for 10 years.
They can't make that.
Money,
They
money.
can't. The ramp would be too steep.
You could do elevators,
The elevator's over 18 up in New Brunswick, I think.
you could do elevators,
I
yeah,
think so.
you could do elevators, if they
Okay.
put it, we install
So,
it.
so what the
No
mayor's
problem with
asking,
Shabbos, so then you have
is-
steps also, you could do
what
both.
the mayor's asking is that we would like to see the concept reviewed with these additions, is that what you're saying?
Come on. Yeah,
Yeah, I just have a feeling by the time the project's done with the pedestrian bridge and it walks and everything, I think it'll probably be cheaper to just widen the line. We're getting there.
I'm just writing notes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the committee is amenable to pursuing it, but they would want to review preliminary plans before moving forward, and that they would like to see pedestrian bridge at the intersections.
pedestrians accommodated, could be bridge, could be tunnel, could be helicopter.
Could be whatever.
What? Jetpacks, just pedestrian accommodation.
Okay.
I wouldn't just say bridge, see what they come up with.
And one other thing I just passed out was, I know Terry emailed everybody just of where we stand with the different projects. done. This way everybody has a paper copy as well. But on the first sheet, the black just indicates all projects that are done. The red are projects that are currently under construction, and the green represents the projects that we are permitting and finalizing and going forward. And then the next page just indicates again, other add-ons that were added to the different projects. Similarly, the bold, what's done, red, what's being worked on, and then obtaining prices for the other items to get that stuff all done.
I got to see this on Monday, or Tuesday, yesterday.
Yeah, I just want to keep everybody impressed with those.
And while you're here, why don't you go over, and I don't know why I put this here, but number 6 in executive road ordinance, why don't we, discuss that white test here, everybody?
Sure. It's not executive?
No.
No, we'll pull it out,
Where's Steve? He has an ethics meeting, should be here by 5:45 or so.
The road ordinance, what I did do was take a look, and I met with Mayor as well as Tom, and we went over a couple items and some concerns. One of the items previously really was the fee that the developers would pay after they've already restored the roadway. We originally had proposed $50 per square yard. We did find another town that has a similar fee based on square yards. Their fee was $10 per square yard. So we decided to reduce the fee from 50 down to 10.
I wanna explain what that means, so if you remember when we had the discussion, the question was, if somebody wants to repave the road, they're paving to do it twice. They're paying 200%, because Jeff estimated it at about $50, correct? So they would pay $50 to get the construction done, and then $50 to put aside for whenever we wanna do the road in the future. And now what we're saying is you're paying 120%. You're paying, right? You're paying 10 out of 50 is 20.
Right.
You're paying 120%. So you're paying whatever it costs to do the road now, and then you're taking 20% of the cost of the road and you're putting aside for the future into a road program. So whenever we decide to do the road, you contributed for the portion that you did an additional 20%. Then whatever was built along that road is obviously paying property taxes for the roads, they continue to pay, and that builds up the, but that 20% gives you that fee.
No, I know, I'm looking at something.
I think that we'll have a lot I think we'll have a lot less pushback. I think that's a fair request, that if you go into a road and you do it that way, so you're putting aside some money for the future, but not paying for it twice.
I did meet with some developers, and just explain, because they were asking about it, they have TCOs, this, that, whatever else. And off the record, they said, well, I think $10 is a little bit low, but if that's what the township committee wants to go forward with, if that's what the township committee wants to, I'm not gonna say anything, and we'll go with $10.
Do they really?
Realistically, what I think the township committee should do is adopt the ordinance with a $10 fee. You can look at it for over the course of a year, see how much funds were generated as a result of that, and say, what are we doing with this? If we got $50,000 or whatever, and say, we can't do anything with restoring the roadways for $50,000, perhaps we change that. Or if you look at it conversely and go, we got $5 million in fees, maybe we reduce it.
Still raising.
Yeah. But that's what I think.
Okay with that, gentlemen?
One other key change in here, is Mayor had asked for, providing more notice for when the township paves roadways. Previously in here, it was, 60 days. We had talked about possibly 18 months, we felt that that was too long. We put down in here 12 months. So before the township were to pave a roadway, that they provide 12 months notice to the property owners and utilities along the roadway to give them time to get everything in and done, so that there's not anything at the last hour saying, ooh, I need to open it, and can I get this done? Again, speaking of
And
some
I
of the
also,
developers.
what I requested should be in there was, so do you follow what we're saying with the 12 months and why it would happen? Because then you don't hit the moratorium and then end up with the problem with the gas company. But what I also suggested was, and I don't know if you put it in there, Jeff, is that then, when they redo the road, that the engineer, instead of them, so now it costs them 120%, right? So if it costs them $100 to do the road, we know they gotta take $120 out of their pocket. But if we plan on redoing the road just 3 months later anyway, by the time they're done patching up the roads, then what we should do is, we should just make a deal with them and say, just give us the $120 and we'll do the road. You don't have to do the road, because we're coming in 3 months anyway, instead of having patchwork. Right, because if we're doing this, that means that we know that this road is scheduled to get done within a couple of months, after that 12 months, right?
Right, normally.
So I would hate for them within 6 months to have to put in that amount, but then put in a little bit and give us the money, and then we'll use it toward the road, a half a year later. Doesn't that, I mean, to me, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's not worded in here, that if the township is gonna come in to pave a road,
It's only on this 12-month notice. If
that,
you give somebody a 12-month notice, that means we already plan on redoing the road. So you have a piece of property, you wanna do an addition, you wanna bring gas. I give you 12 months notice, I say you live on Forest Avenue, you got 12 months, because in 12 months now, we're repaving the entire Forest Avenue.
Okay.
You hustle, you get everything done, 6 months into the year, we're still 9 months out from doing the road, you say, okay, I'd like my money back, I'd like my CO, I'm done with everything, all I have left is the road. Right now, what you would do is you would say, spend $100 on the road, and give us the $20, and we'll use it in 9 months from now. What I'm saying,
actually what we do is if we know either the town is gonna be paving the roadway, or if New Jersey American Water is gonna be, if we know somebody's going
You
to
do
be
know.
paving the
we
roadway,
do know, because so we gave a 12-month notice.
then we just look for base pavement, base restoration, so it's passable until that gets done. We don't have them spin the wheels and do final paving, knowing it's gonna be ripped up, ground, milled, and done in 2 weeks or 2
Oh,
months.
okay, good. And that makes sense, and we get
But
the
we
money.
don't ask
Well,
for,
for sure, we get the $10 now, right? We're gonna get the $10 of it, because that's in the ordinance. So for sure, the $10 we're gonna get.
now,
We'll
with
get the
this,
10.
with this.
So maybe we should, if they're, instead of spending 100, they're only spending 50, so maybe take some of that 50 back too.
I mean, that's not worded in here.
I know that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it.
I have another question, Jeff.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, I'm torn between just let them catch a break and agree with you, one of the two. I don't know.
Well, it's gotta be.
Well, we could
one
do,
of
or
the
we
two.
could do what Jeff said, do the $10 and see how many of these there are, and we evaluate in a year. We could do that.
I have another question about the notices. How do you go about it? It's just a letter in the mail?
The township manager, we provide an address list to the township manager's office, and they send out a letter to all the
It's
people
in
on the list.
certified and regular mail, so this way everybody gets it.
Because it's enough, but somehow people don't get the message. We always get the calls, like I'm wondering if there's
We
something
don't
more
get
we
the
can do.
returns on them, so they're getting them.
No, I know,
They just
we're
don't
doing
get
our
it.
job,
Yeah.
but somehow people,
That's a very good question. Here's the thought. The thought is that even though legally, if we get a return, we're not obligated to keep following, because that's the last known address. So any certified mail that is returned, that's not returned, we know somebody signed for it. We're good.
Not necessarily,
Why?
right? Because you leave a card in the mailbox, and a lot of people don't bother to go collect the letter.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't that
Any
come back to
letter
us, though?
that doesn't come back to us, we know somebody signed for it. Any letter that does come back to us, we don't know that somebody signed for it. So I think any letter that does come back to us, instead of just saying we did our best, you should reach out to us, you reach out to the police department, we should work a little harder and say, look, we tried to deliver something to you, you didn't get it, here it is, and make sure that we find out who owns it and get it to them. So if you send out 20 letters and 5 came back, then on those 5 letters, don't just say we did our job, say, let's work a little harder on these 5. That's what I would do.
And every letter that doesn't get signed for, that people don't go to pick up, does come back,
Yes,
without how long?
within 30 days.
I think they hold it for 5 days, the post office. I'm not sure.
Yes, I mean, there's still plenty of time, to
Yeah.
do something.
There's another, I mean, we're doing too many roads for this, but I would think like maybe a half a year before, we could put out the digital billboard but we don't have that many digital billboards for the amount of roads we're doing. Right, that, so that everybody who drives by can see or something. Because people, I mean, it's it's not our fault, but our people
So
miss
we
it.
can work harder on advertising. See, but the nice part is that if we decide 12 months in advance, we have time to get the word out.
No.
We, all 5 of us live in the community, chances are somebody knows somebody on the block, somebody knows the house, you know, it's between the 5 of us, it's knowing Lakewood, right? Somebody will know somebody.
Yeah.
We have time to work on it.
And there's other minor changes, but those are two of the larger changes within the ordinance. I did provide Tom with a copy, and it is highlighted in there with the actual different changes throughout the ordinance.
Nate, can we post it for first reading for the next meeting? With these
Is this the
changes?
one that the Shore Builders was after us on?
Yeah, this is it.
They were?
Yeah, they threatened a lawsuit. We said we would talk to them, so we're gonna buy them.
Yeah, anyway,
I don't mind putting it back on for first reading, but I don't wanna have to.
I
pull
wanna
it.
give them a call. Okay.
Give them a copy of this, make sure they're on board, so we can get it done before the end of the year.
Okay.
Because there are some people who are waiting for this to happen.
Right,
They have
TCOs on it, you're
money
right.
on TCO.
Like to get it
And we'll
done.
keep renewing the TCOs, right?
Yep.
Till this is. All right.
Okay, any other questions on that?
Anything else for Jeff?
that's all.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
thank
All
you.
right,
Night.
so, yeah, everybody has that in the blue folder, it's number 6 in the blue folder. So Howard, you have a copy of the ordinance
I
again,
do.
prepared.
Yeah, we're probably gonna chop them down and just take the paragraphs that are changed, and put a lot of stars in, we're not gonna, because otherwise we're gonna have 20, 30 pages of an ordinance. But we just edit it and just
So
focus
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean, there's some
changes.
minor changes here and there.
Yeah, well, we pick all those up, but I wasn't gonna do 30 pages of the, what's in the
You wanna
book,
take
we just carve it down. It's-
I'm hands up.
I hear it from the staff when
No,
I
no,
read
you
it.
Not a problem.
Okay.
All right.
Jeff, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Have a good night.
Good night, John.
You take some food.
All right, next on the list in the red folder is mileage.
Yes.
Mary, you wanna go?
Yes.
Good cop, bad cop here, right?
Yeah. Good cop, bad cop. Am I the good cop or the bad cop?
I'm not gonna answer that, it's like a trick question.
So if you look at, a couple of years ago, we started, I asked the committee about starting to do the road restoration. And we embarked on a 10 to 15-year program. The 10 to 15-year program, we have approximately 150 miles of municipal road in town that need to be tended to. If we want to get all of them in some form or another, whether, depending on what they need, whether it's complete resurfacing, milling, just overlay, then that means that if we wanna do it in 10 years, we have to do 15 miles a year. If we wanna do it in 15 years, we've gotta do 10 miles a year. But now we're barely doing 5 miles a year. That's what we looked at. One year, I think we did 3.5 or 4. One year we did
5.26
5.
miles we did this year.
What's the average life expectancy of the road before it used to be redone?
So that's what Public Works looked at with us, and they said about 30 years, but in a town with the traffic that we have, maybe
Between
not most years.
20 and 30, depending on the traffic on certain roads.
So the question is, if you wanna hit it in 15 years, we're moving way too slow. If you wanna hit it in 20 years, we can increase it a bit, but how many, we said 15. But 15 years would mean doubling the amount that we're doing now. And Tom doesn't like that because it's not.
Well, you're looking at $20 million, so, you're gonna take all our borrowing power away, that doesn't make sense. And I'll fight everybody tooth and nail on that, because it's not fair. And number two,
But you
everybody
won't
has
be
to
able to
look-
get into the office, cause you won't have a road to drive on.
Well, that's not true, come on. And the second thing is, and I hate to bring this up, but, we're giving the schools a lot of money, and, you're killing me on one end and killing me on the other end, and, there has to be some type of agreement and a median here as to what we're gonna spend each year. I can't see spending $20 million a year, because honestly, we'll never get that done. Never get it done.
As far as what, being able to physically get it done? or
Construction wise, yes, it'll never happen, because we can't do it during the day, and we can't do it at night, and we can only do it on holidays, and you're not gonna get everybody to fall in and do it on a holiday, so you're not gonna get it done, I'm being perfectly honest,
Can't do it on holidays either.
Well, even Mir stopped one on a holiday, I couldn't believe it, but,
Which road are you talking about?
the one you killed me on, Case Road, sidewalk. Well, I
That
mean,
was a neighbor, that was a person's request, they can't get it into their house on this holiday.
I'm just saying, It's never, we're never gonna do 10 miles of road a year, so everybody has to understand and realize that in Lakewood, because of the traffic, and the holidays, and everything else, so we really have to
What do
be
you feel is a
realistic in
fair
what we
number?
wanna do. Well, we're already, as what we already did this year, you're already looking at over $10 million, and that doesn't include the one road we're looking at to do the switchover. And that's probably gonna be close to $2.5 million, so you're looking, and to do everything you wanna do next year without adding anything on, you're probably looking at $14 million.
To do 10 miles,
It won't be 10 miles, cause you're talking sidewalks.
He's asking how much would it be to do 10 miles?
How much would it be to do 10 miles? Over $20 million. And you're never gonna get it done. And the following year, we're gonna do another 10 miles, and then we're gonna be that miles behind and this miles behind. So we need to be realistic and just come up with a plan of what we wanna do, figure out how much it's going to cost, and be realistic, because the hardest part is planning to do the construction based on holidays.
so, first of all, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy you said good cop, bad cop. The money we have to talk about in a moment. I'll wholeheartedly disagree with our manager. I think that if we have proper supervision and we have money, people are gonna come do the work, and they're gonna do it the way we ask them to do it. Inevitably, it ends up working out. You'll always have a little hitch here and there. Like you said, miles of road, miles of sidewalk. We had one part of sidewalk that we wanted to do where we would have decimated the front of a person's house right during the holiday. They asked that we wait till the next week. I spoke to R&B. They're coming back, and it's gonna get done, and it's not gonna cost us any extra money. If we have money, people want to work. So this is really the question of how much money do we have that we want to spend on it? And B, how often do we have to do it? If the lifespan of roads is 30 years, then we should do it over 30 years. We went out on a 15-year program because I believe that's what we heard from Al Burge, that he said that the right way to do this, you try to get to all the roads in about 15 years, when we asked him about it. Or maybe I came up with 15 and he agreed, I don't remember where that number came from. If our engineering department looks at it and tells us 20 years, then we have to split it out over 20 years, 23 years, 23 years, whatever that number is.
Why
And then
do we
go
have,
back.
you're never gonna do all the roads. I'm being perfectly honest, because I've been doing this for 30 years, especially in this town. We need to be realistic.
But I'm in town for
If you do it the way
I
you said,
disagree with you.
But
If we
if
wanna
you-
do the roads, we'll do the roads.
if you do it, listen, I don't make that decision, I just voice my opinion, that's my job. But if you wanna bankrupt the town, then we do it your way.
Now you're back to money. I'm not talking about money.
I'm just telling you where it's gonna come from, it's gonna be bonded every year, $20 million a year.
I wanna separate the money from the construction. In other words, we have a
Let's
money
jump back a
issue,
little
and we
bit
have
for
a
a second.
construction issue.
The dollar figure that you're putting out, is that including the roads and sidewalks?
Correct.
Right, so sidewalks are really, hopefully, a one-time expense. Once we get them in, we're not gonna be replacing the sidewalks every 15 years or so.
But they're not as expensive as the roads are.
I'm not arguing that point.
And drainage.
I'm just trying to get my head around how we go about getting these roads in town in good shape, and for how long. Part of the problem, I'm told too, is that the roads that were constructed 30, 40 years ago
We're not done.
don't meet anywhere near what today's codes are, and that's one of the reasons that it's so expensive to do them, and also why they're in such bad shape, because they're falling apart, because they're not built the way a road should be. So once we do these roads, now we are looking at hopefully a 30-year lifespan for it. So I think we just need to figure out, like both of you are saying, there's gotta be a happy medium where we can get enough roads done that we're gonna make a dent and not fall further behind, but not basically spend every penny, every free dime that we have on putting roads down.
Let me just ask this, Alberg recommended 15-year plan, and what's our engineering firm
So he
recommending?
spoke to the engineer, he said that you could expect about a 30-year lifespan in roads, correct? But he said with the heavier traffic, that, city would have like,
Some of the roads would
it's
be.
between suburban and urban, we're not totally urban, but we're not suburban, so it's someplace in the middle.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. So, it just depends on you, so, don't forget, even though our main roads have the heavier traffic on it, some of the side roads don't. Some of the cul-de-sacs, they only have the people that live in the neighborhood. Those are probably no different than any other roads that could handle 30 years worth.
Have we actually, I know that years ago, Public Works went through and did a survey of the roads and whatnot. Do we have an actual study that tells us what our roads are, what kind of shape they're in?
with like,
Not,
just
not,
have to-
not the way we should have. If you're gonna do it, you really have to have the engineering company do a complete study of the town.
Then you're gonna lose
Another $2
money.
million.
Then you're gonna lose
I'm
money.
just saying, if that's what you want, Mayor, that's what it's gonna, I mean, that's the right way to do things. You should start that way first.
I'd rather put it into
We
blacktop.
should also, I'm assuming that based on these conversations, that means people, everyone's responsible for their own sidewalks going forward, because sidewalks have a life
Yes.
expectancy too.
Yes, once we put in sidewalks, people are responsible for their own. Yes. You could always go back and do it and add it onto their tax bill as a special assessment.
we could do that with the original sidewalks.
Right, we didn't do that with the
That's what-
original,
yeah,
they're
that's
gonna,
right. They used to years ago.
Anyway, my biggest concern with this is the fact that we've had such a scattershot approach that, you know, I'm not even sure, you know, how we're selecting which roads to do, if it's just phone calls we get from residents, or flat tires that are reported, or bumps that we see on the
It's a mix.
road. It's a mix, and I think that we need to do something a little bit better. I don't wanna spend $2 million on a survey. What I might ask is that if we talk to Pat over at Public Works, and see if he can't have his guys over next couple of months, go through the town, only on our roads, and give us a grade on them. Let us know what we're talking about. I know when I first got involved, the southern part of Raintree was 27 years old, and it had never even gotten its top coat. That was one of the things that was done, and those roads weren't that bad. So there may be a lot of roads in this town that haven't been done in 25 or 30 years, that were done properly, and may not need to be done for another 5
They may not have, it may, I was thinking like the Rain Tree, they're not collector roads, they're not main roads, they're the residential roads where there's a
Well, that's
lot
what I'm
less
saying, let's
cars.
see where we're at.
I think that's a plan.
It would be my pleasure to continue to work with Tom on this.
It's,
Tom,
I
it's
think,
your pleasure to continue being working.
Mine too.
well, I think the mayor, I think the mayor has a
It's a
good
wonderful-
idea of letting Patrick.
I would ask them to look into it and maybe get back to us by the beginning of the year.
But, you know, and another thing too, we realize that, you know, sometimes when we do some of these programs, because we get such a good deal on the bid, because there's so many people bidding on it anymore, we do have money to continue to do.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to stop, we all agree that we have to get this done. What I'm saying is, I wanna do it in a little bit more scientific approach. I wanna go after the worst areas first. I mean, the difference in Ridge Avenue today, where it was 6 months ago, is incredible.
And may I say something? That was not scientific. That was because we met with the owners, I met with a lot of the property owners there, and Tom will know, I drove him batty until we got the contractors out there. But you see that's
We also
that's
waited till
us
that area
living
got
there.
built out, for the same reason
Right.
we're talking about the road openings and everything else.
Right.
You don't wanna be putting on a road when you're gonna have a development going in and tearing it back up in a couple of
Exactly.
years,
And just so
so.
everybody else knows too, we're going to rely more on the county to do some stuff for us from now on.
The county did a lot of good work for us in the industrial park, we can get a much better deal with them.
And also, our crew now can do some of that too, depending on the small roads in town. So, you know,
You said,
The industrial
so maybe we
commission
can do
discussed that
15 miles a
today.
year.
They're gonna look to help
Let's-
us out.
Let's see, you know, you might be able to do 15 miles,
I'm just-
depending on
I'm
the
just
kind of
messing
road
with
that we're
Tom.
talking about.
major reconstruction is difficult, you know, like we're gonna do Vermont Avenue, that's major reconstruction. We're going to do, the changeover,
In Washington.
yeah, Washington, that's gonna be major construction. I haven't got a cost back on that yet,
If we
so
do Vine,
I'm looking at like I figure about $2.5 million for that, so that's why we're up to $14 million.
So, like I said, let's ask him to go through the town, have his people map out the township roads. If we have a list of when we've done paving and where, and how long ago it was done, like in Raintree, it was done in 2008, 2009. But then again, the gas company came through 5 years later and trenched the whole thing. So let's figure out where we are at today with our roads, and then let's try and figure out a little bit better way to prioritize where we're going. It might mean doing a 2.5 or a short $2.5 million restoration or reconstruction of a road. But then you might be able to do a lot of overlay or milling and overlay,
Well, that's,
and get a
that's
lot
why,
more roads done.
well, that's why when I first came here, that's why I said, let's do mill and overlay to get as many roads as we possibly could.
But let's find out what we need. It may mean that 1 year we do just a couple of miles because we have to do a major reconstruction, but it's gonna have a heck of a benefit for the town as a whole.
Well, I do have a list of roads that still need to be milled and overlay, which I'm gonna give the county this year and our guys to do. Because all we do is hire a miller to come in, take to mill it, and then we come in and repave it, so that's gonna save us, you know, several $million.
Let's, again, figure out where we wanna spend those millions of dollars. Does those
Okay.
overlays have to be done today, or do we need to prioritize doing something else? I need to know that before I can decide how much money we're gonna spend, or how much I'm gonna support spending.
Mayor, would you be okay if I, worked with, Tom and Pat on it?
Of course, we've been doing it all along, let's just get a little bit more scientific.
Well, you know, Mayor, you're right, about the roads that were built years ago, with they have to be built today. I mean, we could take South Lake Drive from Carousel Drive to, Hope Road, that has to be full redesigned, that's, so you're right, there's a lot of.
What kind of condition is it in now?
Well, it's all pitched all wrong too. It's not, it's bumpy, I mean, it'll hold up, but it's pitched all wrong. It needs a whole new design, like Mayor
We need to
said.
see where we're at overall,
Yeah.
so that we can decide where's the best allocation of those funds. We do South Lake instead of 6 miles of milling and overlay.
Yeah.
And
Let's
the
see
next
where it's
meeting,
needed.
next meeting, I'll bring in all the cost analysis of all the projects that you asked me to look at this year. All right, I'll have all the costs for that, all right? Thanks. And Mayor, it'll be a pleasure working with you, as usual.
Boy, said that he dumped his soda on my
Guess that went over real big, Tom.
You just couldn't believe it.
He can see when he's getting
Ready to
along.
pass out.
Number 2 on the list, I've already taken care of that, so everybody knows. So we don't have to address that tonight.
Got it?
Okay.
All right, number 3, I was asked to bring this to the committee's attention from the school. As we're well aware, we're having some financial difficulties. So we've been asked to start picking up their trash like we do everybody else in town. So I had our public works go do an analysis, and it would cost us more money for us to pick it up than just to pay for the contractor they have to go pick it up. And I told them if the committee approves that we would start that in January with our new budget, because there's no money in the budget for it this year.
We would do what? We would pay for the trash collection, or we would have our guys do it?
No, pay for it.
Same as we do for the communities, basically.
Right. It would be cheaper for us to pay for it than to do it.
I'm all ears, guys.
I don't care, I mean,
Why?
we, if it fits into our budget, it's same pocket, it's coming from the taxpayers
Right.
anyway.
That was always,
I never
that was
figured
always my
It's an issue
thought.
of who can afford to pay for it, so.
That was always my thought. In the past, when it came up, I always felt that it was, like,
I thought it was a mistake when we killed it the first time.
actually, I was for not doing it until now for that reason. Because I always felt like, it's coming from the taxpayer money, so what's the difference who's paying for it? But if they're suffering like that and we feel that we have to help them
Kind of
out.
study we should do with some of
I'm
the
glad you
other.
brought that up, Mayor, because let's back up for one iota.
Yeah.
There is a
Should I
difference.
finish my soda?
Yeah, hold on to the title. There is a difference, everybody has to understand. I'm responsible for the municipal budget. I'm not responsible for the fire budget, the county budget, the school budget.
Right?
So when it comes to raising tax in the municipality, they're gonna come at me. So
I
that's
just
why-
said
No,
that
that's
for you.
why-
I was on your
that's-
side.
Let me finish. That's why I fight tooth and nail, because I represent the taxpayers from my budget. And everybody has to take responsibility for their budget. And I work day and night, Saturdays and Sundays, to make sure we do everything right and everything's set up.
I'll back up, Tom, for a second.
Go ahead.
The reason why I say it doesn't make a difference is because, I'm not, when we talk about giving $1 million, another $1 million, and another $1 million, I understand what you're saying. The only reason why this is a little bit different is because here we give all the schools free pickup, and it's been brought up many times that if we give all the other schools free pickup, why can't we give the public schools
I'm
free
not
pickup?
arguing the fact on
And
that.
I tell them, I always say that nothing's free, everything comes from taxpayer dollars, so they're getting, it's coming, the tab is coming from the exact same place, the taxpayers.
Yeah, but
So,
it's, what he's
here-
saying is, it's the budget that.
I understand, I'm
It's
just
their
saying that
budget.
here we are giving all the schools free pickup, that's that's always been their argument, so, how much money are we talking about?
Pleasure.
How much money are we talking about, Tom? Tommy?
$100,000.
Alright, so if that's gonna make all this animosity go away, then.
That'll just transfer the animosity to
To
another
something
line
else, right, to the basketball team. Then soccer, hockey,
item. Sports
Okay.
are important.
The second thing, I think I've taken care of it, but I still wanna bring it up. Actually, I don't know who does from the school, wants to have our guy, our police officer, be paid overtime by us to go to their games. And I already stopped it, because no one from the school can set that up unless it comes through the superintendent. So I sent an email to the chief to let him know, we don't send anybody to the school for overtime unless the superintendent asks for it, and they're going to pay for it. Taxpayers aren't, our budget's not going to keep paying for stuff. So the school already has their own personnel for security. They're all retired police officers, they all carry a gun, and the last time I knew, when I did some investigation, they haven't had any issues in 5 years that they had the security people
Why do they
there.
want police officers?
They don't, but
Why don't
Well,
we
they do,
just
and they have-
ask the chief to ask the PBA if any of the officers want to volunteer their time with the kids at events like that?
well, I have
Volunteer?
something better. I have something better. When they're on patrol and they're driving around, just take a half hour, drop over there, and still be on call.
That's a good idea too, but I'm saying, it can't hurt to ask if,
Okay.
this town is incredible with volunteers. You have people who volunteer from every aspect of life. There may be some officers who have some kind of an affinity with the sports programs or whatever's going on, that they'd like to get involved and do it. So you can't say no unless you ask.
Okay.
So let's ask them first.
But I do agree with you, we're gonna have major cap issues if we keep taking over expenses from the Board of Ed. So,
I'll just take over the budget. Watch
Watch what you
Anyway.
say.
Number 4 is sidewalk waiver. If everyone takes a look at that and read that, please, before you discuss it.
Which bullet? Red, yellow,
Red.
purple,
This is one we're talking about.
green.
Number 4. Yeah. Actually, 3-5.
What I have.
That's it.
We just kick anything down without your Steve.
Oh, okay.
If you really take a look at it, I mean, you know how I am with waving sidewalks, but when you look at this situation, this is a little unique. There isn't any sidewalks on that side, they're across the street more or less. So to me, it doesn't make sense for him to throw a sidewalk up where there aren't any, especially when they're supposedly on the other side of the street. If you take a look at it on the last page.
The letter says that they don't want to put the sidewalk in until the whole street is done.
Correct.
So if a waiver is granted at this time, can it be contingent upon them paying for the sidewalk when the rest of it gets put in?
I don't know how you're gonna enforce that, Mayor. I mean, you can certainly try, but if they say no, what are you gonna do? Unless we get some kind of, Harold, can we get a binding contract with them to say, I don't know. They post a bond, how about posting a bond for the approximate costs?
It could be
10
2
years.
years, it could be 20 years, there's no way of knowing. Is there any thought about putting sidewalks out there?
So I'm North Lake Drive, I don't think that there's thought now about putting a sidewalk, and, I think there are some homes along North Lake Drive that are gonna be redeveloped, very possibly in the near future. There is one up the road that already, 2 blocks up that already put in the sidewalk. I mean, I wish you wouldn't have asked me, but now that you did. A lot of people come over to me and ask me, about sidewalk waivers, and I just tell them to go into the wrong committee. I am absolutely opposed to ever giving a sidewalk waiver unless it's going to give some sort of unless it's dangerous to the people that are living there, or dangerous, for pedestrians to assume that they can walk there and they can get hurt. Unless it's dangerous for people, let there be sidewalk there, and over the years, the sidewalk is just gonna grow and grow and grow. That's my opinion, but I'm only one.
No, I sure.
I'm only one committeeman, so.
But without a bond, I don't see how you can enforce it.
Okay.
You can get a small bond.
I mean, I'm not really, I don't think I'm as vocal about this matter, but I feel the same way. But, different people, I mean,
Mayor, if I may,
One waiver, then you're gonna,
it's a slope.
some towns have a pedestrian safety fund that they grant a waiver for sidewalks at planning boards, then they can pay the cost of what the sidewalk would be into a pedestrian safety fund. And then that fund can be utilized later down the road.
Yeah, but that's a penalty, I'd rather see the bond.
It's a penalty, and there's also some legal issue to that. It's in some towns can't enforce that because.
North Lake Drive, for example, he's correct. Where he is, there's very little sidewalk. I know the property well. I know the area well. It's in my neighborhood, or next to my neighborhood. If you go from Hope Road all the way down to Oak Knoll on North Lake Drive, there's sidewalk. Then it goes from Oak Knoll to Case, where the road sort of winds a little bit. There's maybe one or two pieces of sidewalk there, and not a lot of others. But if people slowly but surely put in as they build houses, and 3 years from now, we decide to include it in the sidewalk program, there will be a pedestrian walkway on that side of North Lake Drive, from Hope Road all the way to Case Road, along North Lake Drive. So that's, you know, so putting it into a fund really eliminates the purpose of what this ordinance did a while ago, which was just keep it, just gonna keep happening, it just grows.
Isaac?
Yeah, no, I agree.
No waiver?
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy's not gonna like me for it, and I feel bad, but
Mayor, it was the fourth thought, I should have said I'm outvoted, but I said I
Well,
agree.
you'll tell them that anyway.
I said I agree.
Jesus, what is this number 5? This is, we already discussed this.
Yeah, it's already, it's over with, we already did,
Yeah.
yeah, it's out of the way.
All right, let's get property requests out of the way. then
Well, no, one more, we have the workshop number 6, Mayor, that's you.
we just had it.
No, this is a different one. This is the NJDOT.
It's not on
I have it as park discussion.
Yeah, it's small.
Mayor Lipinstein, I believe
One
we
is
move
on.
ahead so that we can sign. Which one is this, the DOT?
Hey, Ray.
Yeah.
Did you read this number 5?
Oh, this is the taking from Campbell Park.
I think you should read it, it's very strong.
Yes, this is what we just discussed, Jeff just
That was
discussed.
Jeff's presentation.
So I think we're okay with them, reaching into part of that intersection to increase it, as long as they figure out the issue with Green Acres, correct?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
That's the intersection of Route 88 and Route 9.
Correct.
Campbell Park, is that little park there?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, next is, I think Black. Yes. This is from Aaron Perlow. Now, he's asked if we would donate it, but now someone's come forward and wants to purchase it, so.
Is this lot, so, just so that you realize, Mayor, we voted, may I, Mayor? I'm sorry.
We're ready.
Yeah, I know. So we need to do a new step in our process, Tom, and I think this should come back to us shortly, okay, maybe at the next meeting. I want to explain to you what I mean. Whenever we get a request for a piece of property, we run it by engineering, we run it by the tax assessor, and we should be running it by planning, correct? And Ally looks at it, well, I guess with the engineering department, and the assessor looks at it and gives their opinion. We have dedicated, some land now, like similar to Rossi, we have put some conservation easements on different pieces of property that are wet, environmentally sensitive, not in the sewer service area, or very adjacent to a very environmental area. We voted on it, okay? But what I'm finding is, I reviewed the list, there's so much of it there, we gotta make sure, this isn't an environmental area, and this is in the, this is by the wellhead, by the,
Wellhead protection.
you know, by Kettle Creek over there, right, this is behind Chestnut. So if we're not careful, we're gonna take the same piece of property that we voted to put a conservation easement on and agree to donate it for a tot lot. we have to check that first. I think you should check it. And unless you wanna discuss it now, assume that it's not on that list, Mayor, then you wanna discuss it, that's fine.
No, I wanna know what we're talking about before, so if it has not been, run by that, let's make sure that we don't have anything on it first.
Basically, through the mayor, Chair, I think this has to do with a project that's going up out there, that they're going to be proactive and already see about getting a playground for the area. We own the land, and from what I understand, someone's willing to buy it.
Correct.
So, I think we should get a price, definitely from.
Well, first we have to find out if there's already a conservation. easement.
Exactly, and then
That's
go
what
from
I'm
there,
saying.
but the concept of it sounds proper.
Yes,
that
if you
because
wanna put
too
that lot
often,
there.
we've had these developments go up with no plans
Exactly.
for playgrounds.
All right, so
So
let's
I
find
think-
out if there's an easement on it, if there is, bring it back to the next, if there's not. bring
I'll
it
get
back
all
to
the
next
information,
meeting.
okay.
Exactly, I agree with you, Mike.
All right, second one is High Point rezone. If everybody reads it.
Already.
As you know, that's the place where we had some issues with them, we're working with them as,
Well, what did the master plan suggest on this?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. See what the master plan is.
Yeah, I don't wanna discuss this till that's done.
okay,
All right.
Thank you.
is that going to get done soon?
I have every hope in the world that it will be adopted on Tuesday, and we can first read ordinances on the 2nd of November. I hope.
Ordinances, you think?
That's for another
You're
discussion
gonna be,
tonight.
you're gonna be burning the can on both ends, folks.
No, we don't do them, but, we review them, but the planner does the ordinances.
P&M has been working with them, they need to be finalized once,
Okay, I
The
didn't know they were that
master
far
plan
ahead
is
of the
adopted.
curve.
well, we'll see.
Next one is road vacation. Where is this?
This is your neighborhood, Mike, you recognize the area?
I know where this is
Flannery, but this is
Flannery's
Flannery's house,
property.
his property, Atlantic Avenue. Unless he sold it off, or sold
He's
it
so,
off.
I don't think he owns it anymore, I don't know who
It
owns it. I
says
don't know
there's
who's selling it.
contract purchases, it says it on the front letter. That the undersigned
Yeah.
has been retained to represent the interest of Avigdor A. and Jenny Zamba, contract purchasers.
I remember, I know this property because I don't remember that name, different contract purchaser came to me probably 2 years ago about this vacation.
And
It doesn't hit any roads.
you
It's
say
just,
it makes sense, you looked at it and it makes sense to do it?
yeah, I mean, there's no road there, it's a,
Has this gone to engineering yet, Tom?
it doesn't look like it.
I think it should,
No, it didn't go anywhere until I figured out, because we were deciding either we weren't gonna do vacations or not, so before I did all the groundwork, I wanted,
I haven't wanted to do them, but there's been a couple of instances this year where they made sense, so I don't know that I'm in favor or against it yet, but send it to engineering, let's find out whether or not there is a reason for or against doing it.
I mean, I look at it, if you want my opinion, and just look at it, someone bought a piece of property that's not big enough, so he figures that, he'll vacate the street and get enough property to build something, even though the property was undersized when he bought it.
where is that in comparison to that development that's going up out there, there's a big development going up out there? They put in a horseshoe street. Can they cut that horseshoe street through there?
That street is probably what I imagine you'd have to check it, with the planning board approved.
That's
For
engineering.
what?
But you said, it's probably correct, it's probably a piece of property, but instead of putting the road there, they probably moved the road to where there's no current road now, so they could get the circle, and then that piece is where they're gonna wanna put an additional home. Well, it's a big piece of property, they got approval to put 30 homes, and they have to put in a new road, the road used to be here, so they'll probably take it, I imagine, if you look at it, they're taking the road from there, moving it to here, and putting the house there, well, that's what they wanna do, they get vacation, I imagine that's what it is.
What, by this thing? I mean, when I.
Let's let
I think-
engineering give us their recommendation.
All right, I guess I'll do the same thing for the next one, too,
Right.
because that's another vacation.
Right.
All right, so now I'll do that for number 4. right? And number five, we've already agreed to vacate these two small roads, but the mayor asked me to go find out from our professionals if everything would be okay if we vacated a portion of Barry and June Street, and the answer is yes, everything's good.
So the cul-de-sac they're proposing has been accepted by Public Works, the
Police,
school,
fire,
they said that there's no problem whatsoever getting around it, to get in and out?
everything's good.
This is the one down by, located by,
Evergreen,
what's the name of
Look,
it?
Harrogate.
Harrogate.
Across from
Harold, you put that ordinance on for
There's
first
the
reading?
vacate,
To vacate those two streets.
Ferry and June, whatever they were, Ferry and
Barry and June, all right?
property requests?
That's it for, yeah, next is executive session.
Anybody else have anything for the workshop? Because once we go into executive, we're not going back into this till we go downstairs.
You wanna discuss the ban?
Yeah, I guess we could.
Oh, I should've brought it up when Jeff was here.
Nothing else, gentlemen?
I don't think so. Don't forget to talk to Pat about that overlay on this.
All right, can I have a motion to go? Does anybody have anything for open session?
I could if you want.
Nah, it's okay, we'll talk
I
downstairs.
do. We're doing groundbreaking on Vermont now. I thought that we're supposed to be going all the way from the other stretch from Oak to, I think it's Essex, or I'm not sure what it's called. You know, in order for everyone to be able to get from Chestnut towards this side of town without having to go,
The first step in that process, yeah.
okay? So how many years would you anticipate the
I don't
next
know,
step?
we have to look and see what the costs are, we have to see what the environmental impediments are, see whether or not the state's gonna allow us to do it. Right now, we're hoping with Vine Street to get the approval to do that, which will be a big chunk of it, and we're still waiting to see if the state's gonna allow us to do that. So the area down by Vermont is the one that's been asked for quite a few times to alleviate some of the congestion down there. I'd love to have it go all the way north-south, it's still gonna take some time.
I think in a way, it might even bring more congestion. What happens is, we're pretty much gonna bring Tom's River people to there, but they're not gonna be able to get through, because they're gonna have to go that corner of Oak and Vine is a disaster. Oak is a disaster because all the schools, so if they're able to get those turns before they get to the corner, to either go, you know, down or go away towards, you know, towards New Hampshire from there, instead of going towards Vine and Washington and down to Pine and MLK and all that area. So it's definitely, I think it will bring a full section from 70 towards this side of town and take a lot of cars off the 9 and New Hampshire.
That's the desire, trust me. Another north-south artery would be perfect.
As the mayor said, it's being looked at as the next, but we have other areas, Vine Street, and we have other areas that we're looking at too. But that's in the works, right?
Already.
Yes, thank you.
But if you give me your credit card, I'll take care of that, and you'll have it at once.
And on that happy note, can I have a motion to go into executive
Move.
session?
Second.
Any discussion, all in favor? All right, gentlemen, thank you. We're going into closed session for contract negotiation. Anything else, Steve?
Potential litigation.
Potential litigation? Thanks, Steve.
Personal matters.
I don't know if there's any personnel on, but if there are, we'll discuss them. But when we're done with executive, we will be adjourning to go downstairs. There will be no other additional business covered tonight in this meeting.